Welcome back to the Grow Your Nutrition Business podcast, powered by HSN Mentoring. At Healthy Steps Nutrition, our mission is to empower 1 million people to take control of their health one step at a time so they can prevent and reverse chronic disease. We know that helping our clients become the best and healthiest versions of themselves isn't just about what they eat or going to the gym a few hours a week. As gym owners and coaches, we have to look at a holistic approach, addressing sleep, support system, mindset, stress, nutrition, and of course, exercise. Nutrition and that holistic approach paired with accountability and support truly helps your clients reach exponential results. In order to help 1 million people take control of their health, we need gym owners and coaches with their boots on the ground impacting their local communities. HSN Mentoring provides a turnkey solution to help gym owners and coaches build, launch, and grow professional nutrition coaching programs using the Healthy Steps Nutrition framework. My name is Nicole Coyne, and I'm the founder of Healthy Steps Nutrition, CrossFit HSN, and HSN Mentoring. In this podcast, I'm going to teach you how to take one step at a time so that you can grow a successful nutrition coaching program. I am so excited about today's podcast guest, Karen. She is the president of Iron Tribe Fitness, a national gym franchise that provides expert coaching to group classes and semi-private personal training. She has been with the company for 12 years, starting from a client and now as the president. She has been in almost every single role. In today's podcast, we talk about one thing that I have seen her personally shine bright at: hiring, engaging, and building an awesome team who is so inspired and ready to take action so that you can impact your community together. In this episode, we talk about her journey from client to president, how she hires people to join her team, and she talks about some hiring tips. She gives 2 examples and 2 things to look for when you are hiring. I have never thought about either of these before, but it makes so much sense. I know it's going to click for you too. Make sure and stay until the end. Stay tuned until the end. And when I talk about 3 tips for finding and hiring a rock star nutrition coach. Enjoy this podcast with Karen. Karen, welcome to the Grow Your Nutrition Business podcast. I'm so excited to have you on today.
I am so excited to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
We were actually connected from Tim Lyons' group. We've got to meet a few times in person. I'm going to be meeting again in a month, which is pretty exciting.
I know.
But one of the things that has stood out to me every single time I've interacted with you and have heard about Iron Tribe is how you guys foster such an amazing staff environment. And I thought, man, I know so many gym owners that struggle hiring, keeping, promoting staff. This is going to be a really fun conversation to talk about all the things and the secrets that you guys have figured out to hopefully inspire other gym owners to do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's something we're really proud of. It's something that we were not always good at. And I think we focused on the wrong things for a long time. And in the past, I'd say 2 or 3 years, we're humming along. And we really believe it's because we're people focused more than anything now.
I love it. For those people that are listening that have never heard of Iron Tribe, what is the mission of Iron Tribe? What does it look like?
Yeah, so our overall mission, which we treat a mission as a guiding star, something you can never reach, but that you're always going towards, is to create fitness communities that change lives. So we kept it generic, we kept it broad so that we could, wherever we go, brick and mortar, if we have online clients, anything, it's that community feel of changed lives around fitness as the main tool. So that's ultimately our mission as a business. And then we just collaborate to create things around that and make sure we're always going towards that guiding star.
Love it. But you guys have an internal kind of mission for staff, which I think is something that a lot of business owners, gym owners don't have, because we open up our gyms, we're wearing all the hats, and then we're like, all right, who's the person that's going to help me do all the things?
Yes.
You guys have this internal mission for staff. What does that look like for your business?
Yeah, so ultimately we realized, well, actually Forrest Walden, the founder and CEO, way back in the day, realized he really wanted to create fitness careers for fitness professionals, which was very rare at the time. I mean, he was super young, starting out. He's a personal trainer. He's trading time for money. He's counting reps, 1, 2, 3. If people don't show up, he has nothing to do. And he shows up to Christmas and his family looks at him like he doesn't have a real job. And ultimately, that passion for he loves fitness, and how important is fitness for every person in the world? I mean, it's medical level important in my mind that everyone has it, but yet we're paying fitness professionals to trade time for money and count reps and not take it seriously and not be proud of their job. So they leave and they go sell insurance. And there's nothing wrong with selling insurance. But if you have a passion for fitness, that's the bane of your existence. But you go get that job so that you can take care of your family and so that your in-laws are proud. But what we want to do is be able to create an environment where coaches can put braces on their kids. They can proudly take their kids to Disney. Their wife's proud of them. Their in-laws, even though they wear comfy clothes to work, realize they have a 401k, they have benefits, they have everything that they can survive on and be proud of. And ultimately now, looking through that lens, that's always been our mission. We've gotten off course sometimes, and when we have, that's when we've made our worst business mistakes. But when we come right back to being people focused and making certain we're creating those careers for fitness professionals is when we hum right along, and the business it literally sings.
And I think it's super interesting. So when I talk to most CrossFit affiliate owners, which is probably the majority of people listening to this podcast, they don't have full-time staff. They have a bunch of people that are part-time, half in, half out, less than part-time. And the struggle with that, and I can speak from experience, is scheduling is always a little bit tough. And then a lot ends up falling on you as a business owner. And there's only so many things that you can do in a day.
Yeah, I think you have to, I feel that, and we coach other gyms and talk to other gyms, and I'm in the community, and I empathize with that greatly because I understand the stress of looking at a P&L and maybe not even having the money to afford those staff members full time. You as the owner, you're still wearing a lot of hats. Potentially your passion is even coaching, so you're trying to stay on the floor. So I see a lot of those things going on. So I don't want to give advice as if I don't totally understand, and not even that it's advice, but ultimately, I think what it comes down to is, what is your mission for your business? Do you want to run a business, or do you want to be the magician of your business? And that's a lot of times what I see in one location gym owners is they kind of like to stay fully, heavily involved, and their passion isn't growing other people to create careers in fitness. So making that decision of, do you want to grow this business? And if you do, the only way you're going to grow this business is growing people, because you can't do it alone. So these one-off people that you're trading out memberships for and giving hourly wages to, I'm not going to say it can't be done. I'm sure there's gyms out there doing it, but at the end of the day, something's going to fall to the bottom. That might be your retention. That might be your time with your family. That might be your financial benefit as well. So at the end of the day, if you're not investing in growing staff, even if it's that, if you're a one owner, invest in one other full-time staff, figure out a way to make that work. They'll end up paying for their own salary if you take good enough care of them and create a path of growth for them. They'll start taking care of your clients will stick around, and ultimately you'll make profit. Now you can go to your kid's baseball game. I think it starts with a little bit of tension, a little bit of pain, but you've got to make the decision to hire that person, invest in that person, and grow your business, or just hang out and be the magician that you want to be for your business. That's totally fine too. But if you're looking at it from a perspective of holistic health of your business, I think people are the ones you've got to invest in, and you've got to stop the onesie twosies.
I think what's interesting to me, and the trends that I've seen over the past 6 months, I would even venture to say a year, is the amount of turnover in the gym space, the amount of gym owners that are like, I am so fried. I'm done. I'm selling the gym. I'm going to go take this other job. I'm going to do this other thing. But the truth is, we all dedicated our lives to helping transform lives. We understand and we're passionate about all of that. But sometimes if you're wearing all of the hats, you get burnt out, and then you end up doing something that ultimately you might not be fulfilled with at the end of the day. So I think identifying the right people is something that you guys have done really well. You started as a client at Iron Tribe, and now you're partial owner of the company. I'd love to spend just a second. How did that journey transfer to you? And I think this is a good story of how gym owners can think like, hey, we don't need to bring in someone that has all the credentials. Like, look
Mhm.
for people that are super bought in. Obviously
Yep.
you are with the business.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your story for a second.
Yeah, sure. So I'll make it short unless you have more questions. But ultimately, Iron Trap started almost 13 years ago, and I was a client. I was friends with some friends that were joining. We got an opening garage deal at the time. Like, I couldn't have afforded it. I was in my early 20s, mid 20s. Um, Otherwise, it was just something that I wanted to do. So joined every month. It was a stretch. Am I going to be able to pay for this? And I mean, looking back, and even it just was nothing. But at the time, I couldn't believe I was in this gym. I ended up joining. Well, actually, let me back up a little bit. So Forrest is really great about instilling, setting goals, like actually setting goals, specific, achievable, attainable goals that you could reach. So he did a goal setting workshop. I mean, he's also a businessman, so it was for a good sales pitch at the end, which I fell for, but it was worth it. So he teaches goal setting, and then his sales pitch is join the transformation challenge at the gym. So of course, I'm like, all right, I'm in. I set my first goal, and it wasn't even necessarily that it was a weight loss goal. It was that I was going to win the challenge. So I was going all like it didn't matter what it was. Now I was overweight, not to blame anything. I've always kind of struggled with obesity my whole life, in and out of it. But I had recently lost my mom at the time and just went into a depression. I am naturally going to go straight to food, as if I have just any highs or lows. I'm going to be like, let's eat. So at the time, I was probably, gosh, maybe 50, 60 pounds, definitely overweight. And so I entered the challenge. I was going to win it. I ended up winning the challenge, which was like magic to
No
me. I mean,
doubt. No doubt.
I'm this 20 something year old, and I'm like, I think goal setting is literally magic. There's something to this. Like, I said I was going to do it and I did it. This is weird. So then my next goal from there was, okay, well, I'm going to work for this company. Like, it literally just changed my life and showed me not only could I lose weight, I had fun doing it, but that I could set a goal and achieve it. It had nothing to do with weight loss, but mindset and just ability. So I applied. He hired two other people before he hired me, and they didn't work out. So let's just say maybe he doesn't have great hiring sense. I'm totally kidding. He'll listen to this. I'm kidding. So finally he hired me, and I was really just his assistant. I was an assistant for about 90 days, and on my 90-day report, he walks in and says, so you're going to run this gym. Okay. And walks out. And I'm like, oh my goodness, no, I'm not. But I did. So I ran that gym for about a year. Did really well at that. Got it almost to $1 million gym. Not quite, but I'm proud of that. And then I was the first corporate employee that he took to be able to start franchising the business. So we started franchising the business, and I went into accounting. I went into HR. I mean, every hat in the company, I've pretty much done it. And ultimately, it's just a passion. Like, if your why is big enough, and if the reason you're doing it's big enough, you want to do everything you can for everyone else to experience it. So long story short, just eventually one day worked my way up to be the president, and I love it. I have never looked back and thought I've made a bad decision.
What I think is so cool about your story is, number one, you experienced it first,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, you're
Yeah.
not selling something that that hasn't truly transformed your life. And when we look at hiring nutrition coaches, even like, let's take it in a direction of nutrition. I always say, like, look for people who've been through their own transformation themselves. You said it best. Like,
Yeah.
if your why is big enough, you're going to be able to have such a great impact. And people that have been through their own transformation understand the impact of investing in yourself and your health, and why nutrition, fitness, and accountability is so important to reaching your goals. So, when you think about, do I need to hire some from the outside, or should I look within my walls
Mm-hmm.
of my gym? Absolutely. And when specifically
Absolutely.
with nutrition, it's not necessarily the coaches at your gym that are the best nutrition coaches. And I'd love to spend a second. I've actually heard you on another podcast. You were asked a question about, do you hire someone with all the credentials, or do you hire someone that has the soft skills, like high fives, fist pumps?
Yep.
What would you say to people before you answer that? Actually, how many people would you say that you've been a part of hiring between all of the different franchises and at the corporate level? How many people have you been a part of the process with hiring?
Oh gosh, that's a great, I mean, it would be a complete guess. I mean, it's hundreds. I, I really would have no clue, but it's definitely in the hundreds for sure.
Okay, that's why I wanted to preface this. You've hired more people than most gyms will in their lifetime.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now that we've set the stage there, how do you hire people?
Yeah, so we've made all the mistakes. I don't look down on credentials by any means, but I don't think that they're necessary to be the best coach. To your point, sometimes it's the person with the transformation, sometimes it's the person with the experience, but it's a different experience. They were a college athlete that really wanted to get a certain, I'm terrible with sports, a certain throw or time or whatever. And so then it was ultimately their strength coach that changed their life in behind the scenes to be able to get to that. So they really understand the ultimate outcome of what we do in the gym, which is behind the scenes for most people's lives. It's the front of the scenes for our life, but it's behind the scenes. So that behind the scene work that I can find in a potential staff member is always something that shines. They understand what it means to do the work in the gym. So that's not the person who gets the credit. The credit is the coach on the field that actually is the one that the athlete gets the credit from, but that strength coach in the gym. So the coach that understands that they're not the one that's going to get the credit when the CEO that's in their class gets some promotion or wins a big deal or whatever. So that mindset. We also find that people that were on teams at some point in their life, meaning, team sports, team whatever, they're ultimately the best staff. So we look for those things specifically, and if they have credentials on top of that, excellent. However, I look for personality. I look for, would I be inspired with them? Do I want to get a cup of coffee with them? Because most people don't want to go to the gym. I know that's a shock in the fitness and like for fitness professionals, but most people don't want to go. It is a burden to their day. We all know we feel better after working out. I know I feel better after working out, but I still got to put on my shoes. I still have to think about, I got to shower, got to fix my hair after. Like it's a burden. So if I also don't care to see the person I'm going to see and they're just a scientific, like, well, let's do this today, like it's my why is not big enough to overcome someone that I don't like. So I think the likability of a coach is often not only likability, let me back up. The authenticity of a coach is often overlooked in hiring because we care so much about credentials. And that's important in the sales consult. It's not important on the day to day to the client. Once you introduce them to that coach, whether they have credentials or not, if they like them, they feel cared for, and they feel the coach is smarter than they are, which is 90% of the time, as far as in fitness, it's just not that important. And ultimately, I want the returning client more than I want to be able to say I have credentials on the wall, but I have an empty gym.
Right. I think this is a idea, especially for new gym owners, that is probably going to blow their mind.
Because don't get
You're
me
right.
wrong, we still teach our coaches everything. They go through a full thing, but they still don't end up with a certification at the end that's accredited. They go through ours. But I mean, you can teach people a lot of things, and you can't teach someone to be likable, unfortunately.
Right, right. So I want to now kind of talk about the onboarding process with your gym. You guys do something unique with an online course. You've got a lot of mentorship and guidance,
Mhm.
and it doesn't happen in just a 1-day course, which is what a lot of other types of certifications are, like just an online portion.
Mhm.
I want to spend a couple minutes in this because if you're a gym that's requiring a certain certification to, or even nutrition, this is a really good example with nutrition
Mhm.
because there are so many different nutrition certifications out there that the only thing you have to do is pass a test. And there are some people that can do really good and watch a video, read something one time, but they can pass a test. And that does not transfer into being a really great coach. You need practical experience. You need real-time feedback. You need evaluations. You guys have mastered this in the onboarding process with your coaches. I'd love to spend a couple minutes, like, what does it look like big picture? And then what are the things that you guys feel that you do really well and differently than some of the
Mhm.
other fitness brands out there?
Gosh, Nicole, I love that you said that. So many people can fake knowledge quickly. I was one of those growing up. I don't remember a lot from school because I memorized it, took the test and passed and moved on, and I wasn't a learner. So stretching out education over time and making it applicable to all areas is so important to us for many reasons. So we have a full, so again, I kind of keep backtracking a little bit, but I do think that even though we're a bigger company and we have these resources, the same outline of what you just said can be done within a gym. It's just taking intentionality. So while we have an online platform, we have an LMS system where if a coach is hired, they can go ahead and go through all the videos, everything from vision to core values to just core movements to why we do what we do to an overview of explaining what our programs are, our prices are, how we sell holistically the business. They can go through those videos. That's to save us time, and that's also to create consistency. They're all getting the same level of core foundation message. And that's one thing. Some people don't learn from videos. They're still going to watch them. But then we're going to add in the next layer, which is we have staff in Birmingham, and we want them all to come to our Birmingham headquarters, which we have 5 locations in Birmingham. And we want them to come. They work with trainer Jessica Park. She's been with us almost 11 years, maybe 12 years almost now. And she was one of our best coaches we've ever had in the brand. She really wanted to be a mom. She has 3 kids now. So she comes in part-time and just trains coaches. She is more passionate than anyone I've ever met in my life about making certain that coaches feel supported, trained, and raised up in that. So they come, they train with her. She assigns them to other mentor coaches throughout their training. So that training looks like in person, 3 days to a week at minimum. And then they have to come back for a weekend certification with 2 of our other trainer coaches, Kyle, who is our director of product, and Frank, who is our head coach, period. If you ever see these people in life, they will be 2 of your favorite people. I hope you get to meet them, particularly Nicole. You would absolutely adore them. So they go through those certification. They've gone through in-person training, and then we have a cadence of a 90-day follow-up just from headquarters. Just, hey, are you still watching your videos? Send us a video of this training you've gone through. Let's do a weekly call. We oversee and implement all of that because we believe that onboarding and training is the only way a coach is set up for success. Now, we are a franchise, so we do have those resources. We do have the passion that each location is consistent and great. However, I think an owner should and does have the same ability. If you're in the gym, tell your story, tell it over and over, tell your core values over and over, watch them on the floor, put it on your calendar, go check on Coach A today. Like, it's not rocket science. It is a lot. You have to be organized and intentional, but bringing on and training a coach is not rocket science. It really is being intentional and present with them and asking them every day, do you have the resources today to do your job? And that might look like a coach saying, I really could use some practice on how to teach a clean, or I really don't know where the bathroom cleaning products are. Whatever that is, if you just take the time to ask your coach that every single day, you would have similar training practices to what we have without the tools potentially, but I know you would get similar outcomes to great invested staff. They would feel cared for, and you would know the holes in your business too of what you need to then onboard the next people better with new tools. One last tip, record the conversation every time you have it. Then just start uploading it, and the next staff you hire, they can watch the videos. I don't mean to make it so simple, but it's really just being intentional.
There's a couple things that you've said there that I think are super interesting. Number one, your coaches need to feel like you're investing in them. And when you do that, you're going to have coaches that want to stick around and want to build and want to grow within your brand. I think it's really important as an owner, if you aren't passionate about leading a team, find someone else to lead the team. If you opened up a gym as a side hustle, and you love your main thing, but you really wanted to make a greater impact and you have this gym, hire someone to develop your staff, because if you don't develop your staff, they're going to leave. They will.
Yes.
Like, the number one reason why people leave when you look at the research is because they don't feel like they're valued and they don't feel like there's growth potential for them personally and professionally. It doesn't just mean getting a raise. Like, what are you doing to actually professionally develop your coaches? And so many times I think we all get so busy And then we forget, a month goes by, 6 months goes by, a year goes by. Like, when's the last time you've done a coach evaluation? We use NC Fit for our programming at our gym.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have a coach evaluation ready to
Mm-hmm.
go. Like, we just print it out and then we can use it. But from a simple standpoint, why is this important? Number one, for us, and I'm sure you have thoughts, maybe similar, maybe different.
Yeah.
I want to ensure if I go to a 6 a.m. class or a 6 p.m. class, it's a similar experience.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want one coach to be doing something completely different than another coach. Because what happens then is you're going to start having super favorite coaches. And if that person ever leaves, now your clients leave with that coach. Like, there's so many reasons from a business structure that you need to do this to set up your business for long-term success.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head on everything, ultimately. I think one thing that you said is the intentionality of the coaches. And even I was listening to one of your podcasts the other day, it was maybe last week or the week before, and you mentioned how important it is for mental health for people to be seen, known, and loved. And that's a principle that we talk about at our franchise conference, at our coach conference, at all of like that. Ultimately, that's super important. And what I've noticed over the years, and I've been guilty of it, is oftentimes leadership focuses on the client. And a lot of people and businesses and books and everything says the client should be your main focus. They should be, you should wake up and think about them and all. I fall in a totally different category of I eat, sleep, and breathe my team. But through the lens of I want the right people that care for those people. So I don't want somebody who cares for a 20-year-old who wants to get a PR on a Bustle Up or whatever. I mean, that's great. But I want the coach that cares for the 50-something-year-old client so much because they can see their future. They can see their mom. They can see their dad. They can see the life change that they're going to make. So I care for this person and my staff more than anything that I think of the client, yes, but only through the lens of which coach is going to care for them the most. So that seen, known, and loved intentionality is huge. And what you said is, if you don't have a passion for a team, I don't really, somebody's going to like rant me on social media. I don't really think you have a passion for your clients either. At the end of the day, it's if you don't care for people, you just don't care for people, or you don't have the time and you think I hear a lot of people say, well, they're adults, or I don't want to micromanage, or that's not caring is not micromanaging. Authentically checking their work is not micromanaging, particularly when you get to celebrate it sometimes. Hey, those toilets are particularly clean, or hey, like I just watched you do that class and you freaking crushed it. So a lot of times this micromanaging that we say, we think of it as somebody's looking over our shoulder telling us we're doing a bad job. I say I'm walking up behind them saying, hey, high five. So if we could change this culture of what micromanaging is and really make it more about, as leadership, are we leading people to a place that they already want to go? We just have to figure out how to get them there without them having to do it by themselves.
There's so many things that we can dive into right now, but I think one of the mistakes that I've made early on in the business, and I admit this often, is I put people in seats that were the closest to me. I needed a task that needed to be done. And there was like, okay, we got this person. She's got extra hours. Here you go. They weren't passionate about it. And then what ended up happening? They left. And I look back, I'm like, man, I was not a good boss for a little bit. Like, I was not a good CEO because I was like, I need this. And sometimes we get so busy that we don't take a pause to reflect and say like, hey, awesome job. Like I noticed how well you're doing right now. And if we think about it from a coaching perspective, we do it all the time with our clients. We do it all the time. Like, man, you just got a PR. Like, hey, let's celebrate these victories that you're having with body composition or even non-scale victories, whatever the case may be. But when we do it with our coaches? Do we sit down and be like, man, you did an awesome job with that webinar today. You did an awesome job with XYZ today. Like, hey, I was in your class. It was really fun. Like, I loved what you did with X. Giving specific feedback is only going to reinforce them to do more of it. And so many times we don't, as adults here, like, hey, you're doing a great job. But when you do hear that, it's like, man, thank you. Thanks for saying that. And you can truly change the trajectory of someone's day and their passion for helping you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love that. Any final thoughts that you have? So gym owners that are listening to this are like, man, I need to start investing in my team. I'm starting with square one here. Any thoughts you have for gym owners that are looking to get started with a blank slate here?
I mean, if I were to say, if you're going to start at the foundation, it's taking a clarity break. It's going outside of your gym with a notebook, deciding what your why is. Why are you in this business? And if the things that was talked about on this podcast don't align with you, then start to shore up your life and your business to where it can. Second step from there, after you get through let's say you get through the why and this is what you want to do, and you just haven't had the tools or the passion to care for people in the right way, then the second step is to start determining your vision. What is the vision for the company? And then share it. The team members need to know it and they need to hear it often. We had a huge mistake of keeping things just kind of like, honestly, it wasn't even that we were keeping things from our team. It was that we really didn't think they cared. Like, they don't care about a P&L, and that was an assumption. And now that we've brought our entire company behind the scenes into our P&L and our numbers and all of that, they don't have to understand it, but the team unity behind the vision and how we all can row in the boat in the same direction, which is a typical statement. I think things become cliche because they're so true. And that's just seeing our team and the boat in the same direction is huge. And then I think getting intentional. A lot of times entrepreneurs naturally are not organized, and that's what makes them so beautiful, is that they can think outside the box, they can run with things, they can shift and change, and it just doesn't stress them out as much as it does someone who's in the box. So I think honing themselves in and creating a system for being intentional, whether that's every Monday, just put it on your calendar, go say something nice to your staff, those are bite-sized things that I think are overlooked because we all think we should feel that way. And if it doesn't come natural, then I'm not going to go compliment somebody. Put it on your calendar. These little things are going to go a long way. And like I said, implementing a daily, do you have every tool you need to do your job well today, could be huge. Yeah, ultimately, I think it starts with the foundation.
I love it. So many actionable tips there. So Iron Tribe has a franchise model. You guys have
Yes.
quite a few locations.
Yep.
If someone's like, I'm interested in this whole process, how do they find you, and how do they find out more about what you guys do at Iron Tribe?
Yeah, well, so we have irontribefranchise.com. They can go just fill out some name, basic information, and we can go ahead and get information out. If you want to connect with me, I'm super easy to reach on like Instagram or Facebook. I don't mind giving you my email either, Karen@irontribefitness.com. I love, love, love helping the fitness industry in general. I obviously want to protect my franchise, but I have a passion for people that have a passion for others. So if you have that, I would love to give anybody insight or help or whatever that looks like. We're always looking for great fitness professionals who really want to be in a good network in general. So if you guys are struggling with your gym or you want to open a gym of your own, hit us up because we are here to help you set up for success.
I love everything that you guys are doing. It's been really fun to get to know you, and I'm looking forward to, building a stronger relationship this year. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you too. This is great.
I absolutely love Karen's story. The truth is, as you move up in a company, you should be wearing all of the hats. You should understand so that you can jump in and support wherever you need. And it also is really great as you get feedback. If you know what is working, if you know how it works, it's easier to make little tweaks if you are involved in understanding every piece of the puzzle. Clearly, Karen does. She talked about two things that she looks for when hiring people. She said, have they ever done a team sport? And would you go have coffee with them? Now, both really good questions. The team sport idea is super interesting. Are you a team player? Are you willing to do the assist, or do you have to be the star of the game? I think this is so important when we look at teams who are striving, who work really well together. You have people on the back end that are doing the hard stuff, that are doing the things, making sure everything's organized and streamlined, that might not get all the credit, but you wouldn't be able to achieve what you're looking to achieve, to have the impact you're looking to achieve without those people. The other thing she mentioned was, would you get a cup of coffee? Specifically around nutrition coaching, and even with the fitness side, it is about relationships. You have to make people feel good. Do your coaches make people feel good? Or Do they not? Do they not make people feel good? And likely, if they don't, you're not going to have a really good retention rate. Now let's talk about 3 tips for finding a rock star coach. The first thing, you need someone that is passionate about nutrition. If they have the good, warm, and fuzzy, but they're not passionate about nutrition, they're probably not going to make a good nutrition coach. This is an obstacle that I find a lot of gym owners in when they're trying to just plug coaches that are super passionate about fitness and exercise and understand the value of nutrition, but they're not passionate about nutrition. 2 different things. If you understand the value of nutrition, great. Teach them what your nutrition program is about so that they can guide your clients to the nutrition coach to get started with your nutrition coaching program. But if they're not passionate about nutrition, they're not going to make great nutrition coaches. And trust me, it is a different skill set that you need for coaching clients with nutrition versus coaching clients with fitness. So, do they have a passion for nutrition? The next thing is the soft skills. I love the idea of, hey, would you go get coffee with them? You want people that are gonna find the bright spots that you can have a conversation with, that you feel comfortable opening up with, especially if you're using a holistic approach. You need coaches that people feel comfortable opening up with and talking about things that they might not feel comfortable talking to a lot of other people about. You want to provide a safe environment for them to truly open up, because you as a coach are only going to be as effective as you're able to engage your clients and having them open up to you. Now, 3rd tip, finding someone outside of your staff. So maybe you're thinking, Nicole, I have no one that's super passionate about nutrition. I don't have even a large staff to pull from. Where can I find someone outside of my coaching staff? Nurses, teachers, and social workers make fantastic nutrition coaches. The ability to follow through, the care and compassion from those 3 those 3 job professions, the care and compassion just shines through with nutrition coaches. Now, social workers is an interesting one. If you've heard me talk about how to hire and find a nutrition coach, you probably haven't heard me say too much about social workers. Last year, we started traveling to gym owners, to gyms that are running our program, and I found a consistent theme between many of the nutrition coaches at the gyms we worked with and that we traveled to. These gyms were rising above, making a huge impact in their community. They had many nutrition clients and had so many success stories. The common theme between these people, many of them, they were social workers. Isn't that interesting? So, if you don't have someone that's a good fit, look for a social worker. The other type of person I would look for is someone who has been through their own transformation themselves. No one can talk and relate to something more than someone who's been through it themselves. So if you have someone who's lost 50, 100 pounds, maybe they might be interested in making an impact and paying it forward and helping other people transform their health and their lives like they had someone helping them. This is one of the reasons why I say, hey, launch with a challenge, or have potential new people come into your nutrition coaching program, experience it from a client, and then decide, is this a good fit to help support the role? One of the things that Lindsay, our director of onboarding, does with gyms that are running our program as they're bringing on new coaches is she'll jump on a call with gym owners and a potential new coach and just have a different perspective, a different lens. Is this person going to be a good fit to becoming a part of your nutrition coaching team? Now, she's helped thousands of nutrition coaches get up and running, get plugged into gyms running our program. She has seen trends with, hey, these types of people making me feel warm and fuzzy. They're passionate about nutrition. These people are going to make exceptional nutrition coaches. And she's seen people that have really struggled where it wasn't necessarily the best fit for them. They weren't super, super passionate, or they weren't bubbly. They didn't have those soft skills, and it was tough for them to get connected and truly build an audience in a successful nutrition coaching program. So if you're an HSN mentoring client, reach out to Lindsay. She'd love to help you. You need to find the person who potentially would be a good fit, and then she'd be happy to jump on a call with you. I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode with Karen. She is such inspiration. I love everything that they're doing there at Iron Tribe. I think they have a really cool onboarding process that combines online learning, practical experience. They've proven it works really well with the fitness side. We've proven it works really well with getting nutrition coaches feeling really confident in building successful nutrition coaching programs. I'll put all of her links in the show notes. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to her. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review so you don't miss another episode, and we will see you back here next week.